This is the iPhone 16 Pro, and I'm still not sure if I regret upgrading or not. Let me tell you why. Now, if you clicked on this video and you're just curious to see what actually changed, let me list that out for you right here. A better battery with 27 hours of video playback or 85 hours of audio playback. Faster MagSafe wireless charging. 1 nit minimum brightness. It's built for Apple Intelligence, even though that hasn't even shipped yet, so don't upgrade for that. New colors, a desert, a darker black, a wider white, and the OG natural titanium. 0.2 inches bigger display with thinner bezels, 199 grams, which is heavier than the 15 Pro. Camera control, a 48 megapixel fusion, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5x telephoto camera. ProRes 4K in 120 frames per second in Apple Log, 4 studio quality microphones, the audio mix software, and the A18 Pro chip. Now, while some of these new features are actually kind of boring, there are a select few that really piqued my interest. We'll be diving into the controversial camera control, why 120 frames per second isn't that helpful, what makes the studio mic so good, each new camera, whether the A18 Pro chip makes a difference or not, how it all stacks up to the iPhone 15 Pro as well as the 14 Pro. And I hope by the end of this video, I can figure out if buying the iPhone 16 Pro was really worth the money or not. Before we dive into all these new features, let me share with you a few minimal accessories from Moft that could help you protect your phone and create better content. This is the first 3-in-1 MagSafe accessory to seamlessly integrate a wallet, tripod, and stand. I've actually used this to capture unique angles in the moment when all I had was my iPhone. In floating mode, you can use it to film content, watch a video, or reference anything on screen. In vlogging mode, you can film yourself with the front or rear camera. And in stand mode, you can set your phone down or use it as an alarm clock while charging. It also holds 2 cards and is NFC compatible. Basically, the invisible tripod wallet offers a ton of functionality without adding any unnecessary bulk. I've also been using this Snap phone stand and wallet. It's a wallet, stand, and grip. Also holds 2 cards. You can use your phone in portrait mode, landscape mode, or floating mode. You can pair either of these with their Snap phone case or their invisible case. If you're interested in picking up any of these accessories, I'll leave a link in the description, and thank you, Moft, for sponsoring this video. Okay, is camera control cool or not? Yes, but not as cool as you think it is. I really feel like Apple should have placed the button further to the side when in the horizontal orientation. Why is that? If you're a filmmaker or a content creator, you're the one using this feature to dial in your settings, getting the exact control you want, and you're gonna be doing that intentionally. If you're taking photos or content just vertically, you probably want speed and convenience, and using camera control is not speedy or convenient. I also feel like the main reason I was excited for this feature in particular was being able to half press to set my focus and then full press to take the photo. That feature is not here yet. I don't know why they didn't ship it with it, even though it's promised. Same with Apple Intelligence. This is really a half-baked upgrade. Now, we can fix that with software. We can fix that in the future if Apple maybe makes a design change and moves it slightly closer to the edge. There is room for improvement, so I'm excited about the future of this. I just feel like it wasn't as good as it could have been from the start. In my opinion, the second most exciting upgrade this year was actually the camera array, because we got 3 new cameras in the lineup. So starting with the 48 megapixel ultra wide. I typically use this camera when I'm documenting my runs, rides, and hikes on Strava. I love using the wide angle lens for a post-workout selfie, filming myself during the activity, or just capturing some unique angles. Comparing the quality of the 16 Pro to the 15 Pro, you can see that the image has more pixel density, it has improved processing, and just overall is a cleaner looking image. Now we have the 5x telephoto lens. This used to be an exclusive to the Pro Max, but now we have it on the Pro, which is really exciting. You can see here in these images, it's really nice to have a 120mm equivalent versus a 70mm equivalent to get even more bokeh or blur in the background of your image without having to do a ton of software processing. And finally, we have the 48 megapixel fusion lens, which replaces the 48 megapixel main lens. Couldn't find anything specific on the improvements that they made other than it now supports 4K 120 frames per second in Apple Log, which we'll talk more about in a second. They also added the latest generation of photographic styles, which I don't use personally. I like to edit my photos in Capture One, but for those that are wanting to dial in a specific style quickly, it can be a really helpful feature. As for 120 frames per second, Don't upgrade for this alone because you will not use it as often as you think. But the fact that an iPhone can record footage in this quality with these specs is absurd. Even some prosumer cameras don't even offer this level of capability. Now, this does require an external hard drive because you do not want to be overloading your iPhone storage with these massive files. Here is a side-by-side example of the iPhone 16 Pro and my Sony a7S III recording in 4K at 120 frames per second in log. This just unlocks even more possibilities for content creators and filmmakers. So if you are going to be using this feature a lot, it's 100% worth it. If you aren't, then don't upgrade just for that alone. This next feature is probably the most underrated upgrade, and I've seen very few people talking about it. And that is the studio quality microphones in the iPhone. Really, half the visual experience is audio, and these new studio quality microphones are insane. Here's an audio test recorded directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the Voice Memos app. Here's an audio test recording directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the Voice Memos app with EQ and voice isolation added in DaVinci Resolve. Here is an audio test recording directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the camera app with standard audio. Here's an audio test recording directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the camera app with in-frame audio. Here's an audio test recording directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the camera app with studio audio. Here's an audio test recording directly into the iPhone 16 Pro using the camera app with cinematic audio. And maybe I'm hyping this up more than I really should be, but one of my major complaints with recording on an iPhone is the audio quality. Typically, when I'm filming a story for social media, I don't have a wireless microphone always on me. And so being able to just start recording and having decent audio directly into the iPhone makes a huge difference. Moving on to the A18 Pro chip. So this new upgrade will obviously make the overall experience on an iPhone, the tasks and the things that you need to do, smoother and faster. One area I wanted to see a big difference in was gaming. Now, I don't game on my iPhone all that often, but when I do, I want it to be a smooth and enjoyable experience. So I'm not as frustrated on top of the fact that I'm a pretty average player. This is an example of Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. I do feel like the A18 Pro chip combined with iOS 18's new game mode does provide a better experience. It's kind of hard to compare though, because I could just hop on my PS5 and play the actual game. But for the mobile gamers out there, please let me know if you've seen a performance update in the comments below. I'm not super familiar with this topic and would love to see your guys' feedback. If you're watching this video, you're probably wondering, how does the 16 Pro really compare to the 15 Pro and the 14 Pro? And I'm gonna make this really easy for you. If you own a 15 Pro, do not upgrade unless you want a 48 megapixel wide camera, studio quality mics, a slightly bigger display, and better battery life. If you own a 14 Pro, don't upgrade to the 16 Pro unless you want a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, studio quality microphones, thinner bezels, better battery life, an action button, USB-C, and the A18 Pro chip. Now for the moment of truth. Do I regret upgrading? Yes and no. Everyone's situation is different. It's usually wise to upgrade every 2 to 3 years rather than every single year, unless you have a phone plan that pays for it, or there's a specific business reason, whether you need those upgraded features for filmmaking or content creation. Or in my situation, I make tech videos. I usually sell my old phone for a decent amount, and I work with great phone accessory brands that can help sponsor these videos. So for me, it does make sense to upgrade, but if I wasn't in that situation, I probably would have waited until next year. If you need a new wallpaper, like the one you see behind me, I just released the Grainy Bubbles wallpaper pack, mobile, desktop, tons of options. Pick it up in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.